Hello, welcome to the McHugh and Brother podcast. This week, Jamie and I are talking to you about his recent travels. Jamie has recently visited the city of Krakow in Poland. So we're going to find out a bit about his travels, his experience of the city, his experience flying, and maybe give us a rundown at the end. Is it a go or is it a no-go as a place to visit? Would you recommend it? That's what we're going to get to. So Jamie, why not start us off with a bit about maybe why did you pick Krakow in the first place? Has it been on your radar before, or have you just kind of thought, okay, this is a good deal, let's go for it?
So Poland, I have to say, wasn't one that was like particularly on the radar. It wasn't like top of the list. It was just one of these countries where pricing came into it. It was when I booked it, got really good prices and flights, got really good accommodation. So, and then also looking into the history of Krakow and looking at reviews of sort of what you can do. Obviously, within being in Poland, you have Auschwitz, which is not far from Krakow. So it's a lot of history there that I was more of an interest to see. Rebecca, my partner who I went with, was very much keen on seeing this as well. So that was a good, kind of the key decider of going to Poland.
Nice. Well, that sounds obviously very reasonable. Now, when you were there, before you went, you were telling me about all these things you booked before. You went on the plane, you booked quite a few, understand that even like a pub crawl was part of that. So yeah, give us a rundown of what you got up to, and would you recommend any of the things that you've done?
Perfect. I'll run from like sort of the days, Monday. So we left on a Monday, back on Friday. I'll just run through the days. Any questions, Gregor, just pop in and interrupt me
Sounds good.
sort of throughout it. So day one, we left here on a Saturday to head down, no, a Sunday, to head down to get ready to fly early morning at 6 o'clock on the Monday morning. So we would arrive there about 10 o'clock, so we've got a full day. So we were there from Monday to Friday, and I got two flights that were good sort of timing, so you got more of a full day both ends. The first day we arrived, everything, plane journey was okay. The only bad thing is Edinburgh airports, as on the news now, if you were to look at it at the moment, there's a lot of sort of bad press about the sort of airlines and airports that are going on. They're basically really busy. Well, our airport at Edinburgh was heaving, as you would call it, and it took us about an hour to get through security. It was just chock-a-block, but once you got through security, it was usual, typical, okay, sort of run through, got a wee something to eat, and then we're on our plane. Once we arrived, we got an Uber, so I was a bit worried. We didn't have our zlotys cash or anything to give, so I was using my Monzo card. So I was a bit worried of obviously getting to the airport. We hadn't booked transport at all, hadn't, relays with the sort of hotel. So we actually figured out they do Uber. So Uber was actually really good pricing. So we got Uber from the airport into town to drop our stuff off at the hotel. We couldn't get into our room straight away, so we just dumped stuff and then went off exploring and came back around 3 o'clock. Once we got back into the room, just got a bit sorted. We have a lovely wee apartment. Basically, it had a wee kitchen, wee oven, sitting room, and then nice bathroom.
So the hotel you
bedroom.
booked was an apart hotel thing, like when you've got, it's not a hotel and such. It's got, well, it's a hotel, but it's got apartments as rooms.
It was like
Nice.
apartment sort of style ones. Really nice, really recommend. What I'll do is in the description I will put a link to sort of the where we went and stayed, because I would actually recommend it. And for the pricing, the only thing I would say is location wise, as I'll talk through it, it is not the best location, I would say, but for value for price. So with the location, we found we were doing a lot of travelling, so we were really central, but we were just central in the wrong side of the town. So we found a lot of the stuff so we were sort of at the top end of Krakow, whereas the bottom was where like the Jewish quarter, and that's where like the place to be is at the moment from with the tourists and the information we got from the tours we did. So there's an aspect of we were nice because we're in a quiet area, and it's really, your 10-minute walk into the centre of the square, but then you're realistically, if you want to go to see the other parts of town, you're 25, no, well, probably 20 to 25 minutes walk right through. So it's really not that bad, but in terms of obviously making the most of the time, it wasn't ideal. However, Krakow has Lime scooters or Bolts. So Krakow, you can hire these scooters and you can just basically scan the barcode, as me and Gregor did in Washington. If you've listened to that episode, recommend it. Go back and listen. But basically, scooters, really good fun. But the only thing is you can't go through the main square because it's like one of these areas where it's like closed off. So you have to go around this outskirts. Krakow has basically a ring around the city centre, which is just like wilderness or nice walking path and trees. Really nice, and it makes it really easy to get in a scooter and just go fleeing down to the other side of the city. You're there in 10 minutes. However, that cost and that added up over the days.
How much would you say that added up to for somebody visiting?
You could, so we were like, probably every journey that we did were about £2, which isn't a lot, but when you do it nearly every day, or if you do it a couple of times a day, which we did it, I think we did it 3 times one day, and one of the times we were on it for a bit longer, so we were probably probably spent £30 each, maybe not even that, maybe probably £30 all in for the two of us to do the scooters.
That's good.
Not bad.
And you just drop them off anywhere.
So yes, this is another thing. They have particular parking spots you have to park them at. So they've actually got squares that they've painted out, and you have to park them in these zones. And it picks up from your GPS and your Bluetooth on your phone that you've parked it in the right spot. So that, like, there's these little inconveniences. However, really good. They're great fun. And the aspect of you're on holiday, £30, what's that? Nothing, It's a good bit of fun. You're making the most of it. So we've really enjoyed it. Rebecca loved them. And that was a really good part. Now, one each. So on the thing, it actually tells you, like, do not go on them, like as law sort of style thing. Like, you can't piggyback. You still saw people doing it, but I was like, Rebecca, I don't really want to do that. We did it once. Actually, late at night, I completely forgot about this. We did it late at night. Rebecca's on the front going, "What, you gonna hit this person? You gonna hit this person?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's because you're holding the freaking steering and I'm struggling to like turn it." So, great laugh. Anyway, go back to day one. So Monday we had arrived, got all the stuff sorted. First night we had booked a food tour. At this point, Rebecca wasn't actually feeling too well, so I was a bit worried about actually going and figuring out if this is going to work. We ended up going and absolutely loved it. Got a good sort of taste of different foods. Pierogi, otherwise known as dumplings, sort of in the UK, but their terminology for it is pierogi, and they have their own traditional types. One thing we found from the Polish food is very hearty. They're still got that sort of historical, everything they had to eat had to fill them, from going back to the old days where, less than 100 years ago, any food that was eaten had to make sure it would go far enough that they would be filled. So every dish that we had was quite filling. So you're like going this food tour and you're like, the first dish, you're like, I can't eat anything else. And then you realise you've got another like 6-7 dishes before, plus vodka, because vodka was with everything. Just really sort of struggle to sort of actually eat everything. However, I would highly recommend, our tour was great at giving us advice of different places, restaurants to go to. I'd recommend definitely booking at the start. We were going to do it like midway. Best thing, first thing.
What do you mean at the start? Or like just the
start of the holiday?
First day, okay.
Yeah, first day, like, just book it. I think a lot of people maybe would hold off on that and maybe like, I'll do a food tour a couple of days in. Do it straight away, because then you get an understanding of where's nice. You understand what their traditional food is. And then you can also get advice of what places to go, what things to miss out, what things to, really concentrate on. So definitely, it's on TripAdvisor. 100% would give it. Was
that a group thing, or was it just one individual? Or?
So it's groups. So we had like a group of 6. I think that it maxes out at like 10 or something she does. But just, she gives you a little bit of history as well. There's like wee Jewish districts we went to. People that have lived in the cities since their whole life, and from World War II to dealing with the governments and the controversy that have still gone on within Poland. There's still a lot of political issues in the country at the moment, and it was sort of predominant with certain things. There was even like one of the days the police were having people were having a thing with the police for basically being known for assaulting people in the wrong way, and just there was a lot going on in the city still to this day, even though the war's passed from then. Anyway, back to food tour. We can go off topic quite easily with this because it was so interesting. There's so much stuff to learn in Poland. But one of the things is definitely food tour. It's on TripAdvisor. It costs about £60 to £70. It's 100% worth it for what you get in food wise. Yeah, per person. For what you get food wise and the tour and the information and just even just getting to talk to different people, just really good. We both loved it. and would recommend it to anyone. So then after that, we just kind of moved on. I think we went for a couple of drinks, and then just went back to the apartment and relaxed for the next day, as we were up early and heading off to Auschwitz. After we picked up, so we got picked up early morning, so we booked an early morning tour. However, we had bad weather this day, so we're a bit like, you couldn't, it was fitting for what we were doing, but it wasn't enjoyable in terms of we just got soaked through. Basically, it was absolutely chucking it down all day, freezing cold. It wasn't freezing, but cold, and just feeling down. Yeah, outside the whole day. You do the sort of the main camp, where you do the museum sort of tour. That was just so hard hitting, quite hard to talk about, to be honest. Some of the stuff that they provide and talk you through as you go through, but one of the biggest one is you go through one of the gas chambers that was used throughout the war, and you just go into it, and it's just this eerie silence, and you can see the scrapes on the wall which are still there. You see the holes where they dropped, basically it was pellets that used to drop, so it wasn't like a gas they just dropped, it was these pellets that used to basically with oxygen and sort of human body heat would expand, and then that's what the gas came off, and that's what killed millions of people. Surreal. And then you go through this to the next room where people got burnt alive, the bodies got dragged through and burnt. Just, you need to go and see it. If you're listening to this episode and you've never been to Poland, or Krakow particularly, you have to see it to comprehend how horrendous this was. So that was really touching. Then we moved over to this is really bad, I can't remember the camp name, but one with the rail tracks as you come in. So this is where the bodies got brought in from all over, and these carts that used to bring people in used to have between 60 to 90 people in one cart. So they used to fit, they were for cattle at first, and now they just fit 60 to 90 people standing and stuff. And when they got out of these sort of carts, and you would see a load of chimneys all around, and what they would think it was is they were coming here to work. So a lot of people got off thinking to work, and they'd be segregating. So they'd be like, okay, people to this side, people to that side, people to this side. And some people thinking, oh, work and stuff, or what's happening, they maybe are going to die because they're too young or stuff. So there's a lot of little stories we got told about families that, mums that put their kids to one side thinking that they were going to live, when she secretly pushed them to the side that they were going to die, thinking that that's the right side for them to be on because she thought she was going to die. And just like unbelievable stories that go on there. So yeah, that was a really hard hitting day. Took a lot out of us. It's about a 5-6 hour day tour. Okay. You're out and about. Really good. 100% recommend doing that.
And how far is it from the centre?
So you're on the bus for about an hour. So it's not too far, but it doesn't matter how far it is. If you go to Krakow, even if you're in Warsaw, I don't know how far it is from Warsaw, go to Poland, go see it. If you're interested in a bit of history and you want to understand more about what happened in World War II and even World War One, definitely want to go and sort of see that part of the world. So yeah, we did that, got back. That day 2 kind of wiped us out. Being soaking cold, we realistically went back to the apartment, just dried off, Our room actually had a bath, so we both were like, feet were freezing, so we're like, let's just put a bath on and put our feet in it. So it was quite nice to just sit and chill. We got our shop around the corner from us. We just got some food in it, like some drinks and stuff. Food and everything's really cheap. Like a bottle of like iced tea, Lipton's iced tea.
Yeah. Like
80p.
Okay.
So it's like not bad price. You go to Tesco's, it's a bottle of that's what, £1. It's not massive cheap, but it is cheaper than what I found. Then we went out for a nice dinner. 10-minute walk from our apartment. Really nice sort of traditional restaurant. Got pierogi. Just really nice restaurant.
Did you plan all this before you left, or were you just kind of get there, see what the score is?
That was not planned. So the dinner wasn't. The dinner was planned. So the only key things I had planned was So I obviously had the food tour, Auschwitz, pub crawl, thermal baths, and I think that was it. Yeah, that was the four main things we had pre-booked. Day bookings probably cost us about £300.
Okay. What was the next big thing that you booked on the trip?
So the next big thing we booked on the trip was our sort of pub crawl. So we booked this pub crawl, which was actually really cheap. It was like £12 each. So like 100% great value for money, like what you get and what you get included. So basically, turn up. We had 50 people in this pub tour. Clearly a lot of students, people who are just doing travelling, like finished uni, going off, they're doing hostels, staying in hostels and stuff. Got to speak to a couple of people. You turn up into this room, looks like an apartment. It looks like some guys just went, do you know what? I can make some money off this, turned his bedroom into an apartment, put a kitchen in it, and it was free drinks for 45 minutes. So you could just go up and get as many drinks as you want. However, me and Rebecca, and I think being probably more me than Rebecca, I got into a point where I was like, there was like Jenga going on, there was beer pong, fun games going on and stuff. But because there was so many people in this room, I just couldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
50 people in this.
It's not much of a tour.
No, so it wasn't. So this is, well, it goes on. It can, I'll tell you through the next steps. Okay. So it continues on and it goes on to this next room, and you go downstairs and so it's not even a tour. You go from this floor to down two floors.
So it's just in an apartment.
Pretty much, and
it's
you go
not
down
even.
the wrong.
I'm thinking you're going around the bars in Krakow.
That's what I had in my mind, and then down the bottom, and it's this sing star sort of like everyone's pissed, sort of drinking, singing along to music lyrics and stuff. But you couldn't even get to the bar to get a drink because there's so many people, and everyone's just obviously trying to get in. And there's no order of fashion about it. It was just like this massive queue. I just got to the point, turned to Rebecca, I was like, let's get out of here. Like, I'm not feeling this at all. It's not a proper pub crawl. You're not going to tons of wee bars that are like trying different drinks and stuff. This is where I'd recommend if you're going to do anything, do the food tour, because you still go to a bar there and you get vodka and you try a couple of different drinks.
So just don't do that bar crawl thing. That is not really
for the value for money. The only way I would recommend it is if you are a young student listening to this podcast and you're going traveling and you need to get to know people and you want to get to know people while you're away, do it. Because
where did you find this?
It's on TripAdvisor. So all the things we did were on TripAdvisor. Cool. So 100% do that. But anyway, that was a pish night, to be honest. We ended up going away, finding a wee bar. I got a lovely beer. She got a sweet beer, which was quite nice, actually. And then in the Jewish quarters, there's this circle square thing that's got food. And they cook like a pizza sort of on a sourdough bread. Amazing. Go there, try it. Okay. Next place we went to, so the key place was our thermal baths. This is a 2-hour drive out of Krakow. We got picked up thinking we were going to go with other people. We were the only people on the bus. So we got a private taxi straight to the place, had 3 hours in this hot thermal baths. You go into it, tons of wee pools, all like 36 degrees, really nice and hot. And we're like, oh, what's this music? You can hear music and stuff. And our bus driver was like, just let you know, you guys can only have access to first floor. And we were like, it sounds like it's coming from downstairs. Can we go? I wonder if let's just go downstairs. And there's this, you go down, open these sort of spinning doors, you go through it, and it's these thermal baths, and you see the steam coming off of it because it's quite cold. We went in the evening, and you can see the steam coming off. DJ at the far side playing music, and then to the left of us is a bar. So we're like, yowdy. Got a wee bar, had beer, cocktails. Then the great thing with the place is you get this wristband. Instead of having your money on you and being like trying to sort that, you just tap your wristband, take your wristband off at the end, and you pay for it when you get out.
Ah, cool. That's clever.
Genius.
Yeah.
And we had a great time in there, just chilling, really enjoying that. It was, I would probably say, expensive. This is I don't think it's for everyone to go and do. It's a lot of your time when you're away. 2-hour drive.
2 hours along, there and back.
Yeah. 2-hour drive, so there's a lot of time. Then you're 3 hours in the baths as well, so quite a long day away. We went late evening, so we booked time for it's 5 o'clock. 4:30 we got picked up, so we were away for the whole evening. It's cost us £140. Then you plus add the drinks on, which was another £20. Then end up having to buy Rebecca flip-flops because she forgot her flip-flops, which you want, and this place is so busy, you just want flip-flops on to go about in. So yeah, overall, quite an expensive wee trip, but if you like relaxing thermal sort of hot baths, go to it. It's so nice. The weather we had was quite not clear skies, but like intermittent clouds. Really nice. Really nice.
Is that outside? No,
it's all outside. Well, not all outside. You've got like bits that are outside, and you've got an inside bit as well.
Wow,
so
that sounds quite cool.
That was really good. And then probably one of the funniest wee random tours we did is you go to all these sort of cities. I'm sure you had it in Porto Gregor, but you have all these wee cities, golf carts that do tours, city tours. I don't know if you had that in Porto, but like they're basically all around Krakow. There's these carts that do these tours for people. Me and Rebecca were walking back from going to a weed vending machine. Wasn't an actual weed vending machine. They don't sell it. It's not legal there. It's CBD. And we got some lollipops, it was just one of these things. We were like, look at that. Let's get them. So had that. And then walking back, we're like, this guy goes, "Oh, Sarah and David." And we're like, "There's no Sarah and David anywhere. It's just me and Rebecca in the street." We're like, "What on earth?" And he goes, "Oh, am I not the guy that, you guys, I was hassling you guys yesterday, wasn't I?" And we're like, "Nope. Who are you?" And he was just like, there's wacky hair, like bald spot here, but the hair's all long, curly, and he's just like big belly. You're like, okay, this is like a scammer. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, straight, you're a wee scammer. You just want to get some money off us. He's like, "Oh, what have you done today? What have you? How long have you been here? Blah blah blah." So tell him a little bit, just to sort of. He seemed really friendly, and like the chat and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, what is it?" He goes, "I do a tour. I give you just over an hour. We go right round. I take you around parts of the city you'll never see. I'll take you to where Schindler's List. You heard of the film? So takes you to parts of that, where the lady in the red dress just takes you to all the bits and stuff you just never else see." And I was like, "Enough. This just sounds like dodgy as anything." He goes, "I only take cash." And I'm like, "Well, I've not got any cash. Sorry, we can't do it." And he goes, "There's a machine just up there. And trust me, it's free, and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, how do I feel about this?" And now Rebecca's looking at me going, "I quite fancy doing this. It seems quite funny. It seems quite a good laugh." And I was like, "Do you know what? Let's do it." Went to get it. It cost us about £25 for an hour round the city. I think I could have haggled a bit more and got it cheaper. £25 for what he did was, I think, quite expensive, but it was good, really good. He took us to where the Schindler List was filmed. Took us to wee parts at the top of the town. Takes us to this sort of cliff bit. He took us to walls where the Jewish walls to the Jewish district was. Just like parts of the city I was like, me and Rebecca would have never seen.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was so good. And I'd recommend, if you go there, you have to find this guy, bald spot, curly hair, wacky. 100% find him, because he's the one you want to go to. Because there's other ones there that clearly just get you to put headphones on. Whereas he just talked and gave just some, just good chat. But yeah, so we did that. Came to Friday and we're, having a good time. Pretty much just chilling, enjoying seeing the sights. Did the Oscar Schindler's Museum, who's a Nazi who helped save a lot of Jews. Really good sort of thing to see. Plenty of sort of things. What I'll do is I'll put a wee list in the description. There's so much more I could talk about, but this episode would be an hour and a half long. So I'll put the list of sort of things we did and places to go and see in Krakow when you do go. If you go, recommend you go.
Yes.
However, let's get back to now. We were flying back. So
that's all that you booked, those things?
Yeah, that's everything we booked. Amazing. We did tons of little things in between, but obviously,
anything notable that you would recommend?
I've got a list of restaurants I'm going to put down. I'll put a list of places that I recommend to see. There's going to be a list down below, things to do, things to see, things to eat, things to try. I'll do a wee list for everyone to sort of do. So if you go down to the description or see the sort of, I'll put all that information.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Jeremy. So obviously, sounds like a fantastic time, when you went away. The weather was mostly good, apart from one day. Is that correct?
Yeah, so weather was pretty good. We did have like obviously the odd showers and stuff throughout the rest of the week. So day one was roasting, and then the rest of the week was kind of like perfectly fine, culpable. So
And good hotel, half decent tours and stuff, plenty of historical sites to go and see. Sounds like you've had a really good time. And it gets to the end of your trip and you need to get back home. What happened?
yes, well, as you know, Gorayer, it didn't go very well. So we got to the airport, supposed to be flying back at 11 o'clock at night, sitting in the airport, ding ding, tannoy. Edinburgh flight has now been delayed. It will be taking off at 20 past 1. Okay, so 2 hours and 20 minutes delayed. Not too bad. We can deal with that. Sitting, blah, blah, got food and stuff. Onto the flight, sitting on the flight, half one goes, 20 to 2 goes, quarter to, oh god, okay. Pilot Tannoy's
a busy plane? Was it full?
Full plane. Tannoy goes and the pilot goes, I'd just like to inform you, due to limited conductors in Edinburgh Airport, it's caused delays all over Europe. This has meant that we've not been able to get off when we were supposed to. We got delayed. And now the airport has shut down their runway for maintenance. So this flight is now cancelled. Please, obviously, Ryanair will be getting something sorted for you guys. Please just take your time. We will get everything sorted for you. And I was like, sat there, and I thought I could sit there. This first time ever happened. Me and Greer, I don't think we've ever had it in our family holiday at all. I thought I could sit here and greet, because I'm like, I've never dealt with this. But I've also got someone next to me who's even less travelled than me.
Yeah.
Rebecca. So I was just like, okay, no. Started giggling. I was giggling with fear. Because I was like, just like, what am I supposed to do here? So I'm basically like straight away onto like Ryanair's okay, what's the next flight?
What was the atmosphere on the plane?
Oh yeah, some of the Polish people who were coming over just giving it the whole shouting and why? Don't know what they're saying, but like, just in Polish, just giving it. And then obviously you got a load of Brits that are just going, well, that's that, eh?
Okay.
But so like on the Ryanair app, we're like, okay, I found a flight, leaves tomorrow. It's gonna cost us an extra 280 quid to get back.
So they wouldn't arrange that for you?
Well, so this is what I did. So I didn't say anything. It was going to be arranged. So I left this all ready to just like, I was ready to like click book in case I got off the flight and they're like, you just need to book your own flights, and then Ryanair will get in touch and give you refunds. That's what I was predicting. So I was trying to get myself prepared for the worst, because I know that it was a full flight, and that if that other flight's already got somewhat booked,
that makes sense.
Struggle to get thinking. So got it ready, got through to the other side. And then went to Ryanair's help desk, and they're like, that flight has now been rebooked for 3 o'clock the same day. So now, instead of at 2 o'clock in the morning, the flight's going to be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Great, so got 2 options: stay in the airport till like 3 and stuff, and then not get back till like 6, 7 o'clock, and then just be absolutely knackered, be up for like 24 hours, I was like, this is not going to work. So went and found a hotel. First hotel, fully booked. So we had hand-on luggage. We paid for like 2 bags to be hand-on luggage, so I didn't have to. No. Did you do that for Porto? Oh, surprised at that. So did basically got all organised for going to a hotel. Hotel fully booked. Next hotel's 10-minute walk. Let's just walk.
Was there other people from the flight with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone. Turned up to the next hotel.
Walking together to hotels?
Pretty much.
This is a funny sight.
Walk to the next hotel, and there's already people in it. There's like a queue of like probably 15 to 20 people, and I'm like, see if this place is like half booked out. Like, I'm thinking, okay, there's like, if you go by 2 people per room, I was like, that's 1 room, 2 room, 3 room, 4 room, 5 room. I'm like, this hotel has to have at least 6 rooms, 7 rooms minimum for what's in front of me. And then I'm room like 8 or 9. Okay, hopefully we get a room.
Yeah.
Got to the front desk. Okay, whatever rooms you've got available, cheapest one, please. We've only got our deluxe. I was like, thanks. How much will that be? 420.
No.
I went £420. They went, no, 420 zlotys. Oh, thank God. Wipe the sweat off my face. But 420 zlotys is about 70. It works out as about £75.
Okay.
So £75 to book this room, for us to go to sleep for 5-6 hours, then get out of the room and be out of the room by 11 to then go to the airport. And I was like, well, this is fucking expensive room. So got in, and they were like, breakfast is runs from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10. And Rebecca was like, I'm not getting up for that. And I was like, I just knew she wasn't. She can sleep. She needs her sleep to just cope. So I was just like, you sleep. About 9 o'clock, my alarm goes off. I'm up, slip my clothes on as quick as I could, stay down. 3 plates of breakfast, please. I was like, help myself. I'm full. That's me sorted till I go home.
Nice.
Back up to the room, shower, get the suitcase all sorted, and then we're out away to the airport to get sorted. Got through to the airport, everyone went pretty much fine from there on. Flight did get delayed again by like half an hour, but that was just like wasn't bad. And then we're back. Turned up at the ticket thing thinking I'm going to have to pay extra for my parking now because I'm way over the time when I said I was going to be here. Yeah. The guy went, don't worry about it. I was like, thank God. Not another expense. So yeah, overall, had its ups and downs a little bit. Brilliant place to visit. Highly recommend Auschwitz, highly recommend food tour, and highly recommend thermal baths. Amazing. Pub crawl, personal choice. Mm-hmm. But overall, 5 stars.
Amazing. Well, Jamie, it sounds like you've had a really good time. As you said, ups and downs. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a place to go then. That's the summary. Definitely visit. Definitely. Have a go, guys. Have a look online and see if you get a good deal. Jamie will share all the links in our description for what he's discussed in our podcast. And yeah, thank you for going over that, Jimmy. Do you have any closing comments?
No, don't have any closing comments. I would only suggest that people go see it. Be prepared to spend a little bit more than you probably think. It is a cheap city, but if you want to do what I've done, you do have to spend a little bit extra money.
Do you think the time that you were there was enough? Your Monday to Friday?
Yeah, 100%.
Would you want any more?
I think if you were there for an extra day, I would maybe done like they have like something called the salt mines. I'd have done something like that. But no, I think for what you're looking for in terms of like a city break and time away, I think 5 days enough. You could do a full week, but is it necessary? Probably not. I wouldn't. You can do plenty in the time in 5 days and enjoy it and still have time to relax and get some drinks and chill. So
yeah, it's a good point. And what I thought was interesting with you is you've obviously a lot of stuff on TripAdvisor and a lot of stuff that seems like just it's not companies that are organising it. It's just like people have put up, I'm going to sort out a tour or do something like that, and I'll put a price on and I'll advertise it. And you've gone and looked at it and gone, yeah, that looks pretty good. I went to Porto, never thought about that, and I was speaking to somebody else who went to Porto and then done the Airbnb equivalent. When you can go up on Airbnb and look at events that people are organising, and then it's actually you get locals giving you tours and all this sort of thing. So it's always an avenue to look at, and I wouldn't have thought of that. So that's another tip as well.
Would you obviously this is bringing it back to a little bit back to you probably? Do you wish you had done that now? Do you think actually you missed out on maybe looking at a TripAdvisor or for Porto? Like, do you think you've missed out on something?
I think definitely having something booked would have been good. A local tour or something like that would be good. Caught with an old flatmate the week past, and he went to Porto and he booked this experience thing on Airbnb, and basically similar to what you're talking about, somebody comes pick you up from the door and they take you to their family, basically a vineyard, and then he got loads of quality food made by the family, and then a tour of the vineyard, and they got all the wine in the world. and all for a very reasonable price compared to what you would pay in the center of the city. And you wouldn't even be able to do it in the center city, you know. So like partly, you know, when he's telling me that story, and I'm going like, oh, like I missed out on doing something like that. So yeah, I think in the future, definitely going to dive into that and make that part of the planning process. So yeah, it's interesting you've done that already. But that
Cool.
summarizes everything. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week for the next one.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.